Virginia Department of Corrections, Red Onion State Prison. To accept this call, press 0.
This is Randall Via, and I'm currently serving 1,214 years for capital murder in Red Onion State Prison in the state of Virginia in the USA. This is my podcast, Red Onion Randy, and I hope you enjoy listening to me today. Today, I'm going to talk about medical. Medical is medical should be. As a matter of fact, let's start off with what medical should be. Medical should be a place where you feel comfortable, a place where you feel that you're in good hands, that there are people who genuinely care about you and your health, your well-being, and it's not. And it's not that guys have a fear of going to medical. They don't, it's not that they have a fear of needles and so on and so forth, that a lot of people suffer from that. A lot of people hate going to the doctor. But it's different in here. It's not that guys are afraid of this stuff. It's that guys pretty much know there's just no damn point in going over there. I do my best to try to study the law, to read some stuff here and there, when I can get my hands on it and everything. And if you go to it's a website, it's called prisonlegalnews.com or pln.com, and you can subscribe to their newsletter, which isn't all that much, and you can just read article after article after article of malpractice in prisons in the United States. I mean, like, the United States is supposed to be the leader. We're supposed to be the light in this world. We're supposed to show the world a better way of doing things. And yet, we have the worst prison system in the world by far. And you will sit there and read. Matter of fact, I was redoing my weight bag like 3 days ago, and I read some of the old prison legal newses that I have in the weight bag for weight and everything. And there was an article in there about this one guy. He had an abscess on his head, and it took weeks and weeks and weeks of him filing request forms saying, hey, I need to see someone in medical. I've got this abscess on my head. I've got this open wound on my head. So by the time he finally got over there, they put him in medical, and they put him in one of the beds there. And they left him there for days without seeing him. And the blowflies and the gnats were so bad in there because they weren't cleaning. They weren't bringing in fresh oxygen or none of that. They started laying eggs in the wound on his head. And, he had maggots in the wound on his head. And the dude almost died. And several other people there actually did die. And the sad thing is, that's pretty typical for medical units in prison, because medical isn't run by nurses. They're not run by doctors. They're run by accountants. And the accountants, if they can, it's the same thing with the kitchen. The medical managers and the kitchen managers, if they come below a certain amount of money every year, they will get a $10,000 bonus from the state. And not a single medical manager and not a single kitchen manager has ever missed or lost that $10,000 bonus, because they will simply refuse to treat you. They will refuse to buy the food they're supposed to buy and serve the food they're supposed to serve, so they can make sure they get that $10,000 bonus at the end of every year, so you don't get treated. I've discussed the tumor in my leg that I've had in my leg that's growing. It's not under the skin, in the muscle or anything. It's literally growing out the side of the bone. The tumor is in the shin bone, the tibia bone, halfway between my knee and my ankle. And to this day, I've had it since 2017. And to this day, the only thing that has been done on that is a couple MRIs, a bunch of x-rays, and that's it. All they have to do is take a scalpel, put a little 2-inch slit in it, open it up, snip a piece off of it, and test it. Find out what it is. Hell, look at it and find out what it is. But yet, they still refuse to do that. And on top of that, within the last couple of weeks, I found tumors on my lower back. 2 of them are the size of ping pong balls, and I have around 17 more that are the size of marbles all through my back, my lower legs, and I got 2 on I got 1 on my right arm and 1 on my left arm right below my triceps on the back of my arms. Literally in the same exact place on both arms. It's kind of weird. And the biggest one on my side, you can actually look through the skin and see a black dot in the middle of it. The tumor is, like I said, the size of a ping pong ball. And matter of fact, it reminds me, if you've ever opened up a boiled egg and you remove the white and you leave the yolk whole, and you'll look at the top of the yolk, you'll see that little dark spot, that little dark circle in the lighter green. That's exactly what the tumor looks like. And the only way I can see it, because it's on my back, I have to look at it over my shoulder in the mirror, and I can still see the black dot. And the nurse practitioner, Jessie, up here, who's actually good. I will give that to Jessie. She does actually care about us. She's a good one. But, they have rules and regulations that they have to follow, set down by the people in Richmond, set down by our assemblymen and whatnot, and women in our local government here in Virginia. They tell them what they can do and what they can't do, what they can treat and what they can't treat. Because it's quite frankly, it's cheaper just to let us die and bury us out back in the graveyard, because there's literally a graveyard for inmates right behind us, on the hill right behind Red Onion State Prison. And this is what we have to deal with. No matter what jail you're in, no matter what prison you're in, if you do not know policy, if you do not study policy, they will screw you. Here at Red Onion, you're not allowed to get the medical policies. They say that that's not for inmate use. You can see certain other policies, but some policies they will not let you look at. They say it's detrimental to security that you look at the medical policies. The reason why they say it's detrimental to security, meaning they're going to have to freaking pay a lot of money if we know what we're talking about, if we know what these are, but they will not give us access to them. But, as I said before, I'm some dumb, not plumb dumb. So when I went over there to see Jessie, I was talking to her. The very first time, she ordered an ultrasound. So they have a company on the outside that comes in every Friday and will take x-rays, because they got a little mobile x-ray machine. They got a little mobile ultrasound machine and whatnot. And so that lady, she took the ultrasound of only 2 of the tumors. I've got like 20 tumors in my body, but yet she only ultrasounded 2 of them. So they sent paperwork back a couple of days later saying, oh, it's just a lipoma, non-cancerous, don't worry about it. Because I got a copy of the paperwork. So I went back over to medical and talked to Nurse Jessie. So look, once again, I'm some dumb, not plumb dumb. I know for a freaking fact you cannot determine if a tumor is cancerous by looking at a picture of it. And that's all an ultrasound is. An ultrasound is nothing more than a picture using sonic waves to build that picture. It's like radar. So I'm sitting there talking to her and explaining this to her, and she's like, you're right. And so I just stand up. I tell the CO, look, man, take the handcuffs off. Because every time you're in medical, you have to be handcuffed, in case somebody gets unruly and rowdy and decides to attack a female nurse or something. But he takes the handcuffs off of me so I can take my clothes off, and I strip down right there. I don't give a damn who sees me. I'm like, look, and I start pointing out the tumors. Now, when she had saw me and originally and actually approved for me to get the ultrasound done, there was only a couple of them. But she started counting them. She's like, oh, my God, you got 7 tumors right there. And then I started showing her the tumors on the other side, showed her the tumors on the back of my arm. I started showing her the tumors on my legs. And so she started grabbing them and feeling them. And, and I explained, because the one tumor, the rest of them aren't painful. It's only one tumor that's painful. And the pain will start from that tumor on my left side, and it will shoot down towards my left buttock. And if you've ever seen a picture of slow motion lightning, that's what it looks like. I mean, that's what it feels like. It's like slow motion lightning just shooting down. And then as soon as it's done, like 5 seconds later to the second, it'll cramp up on me. And then I won't be able to move, and I'll have to stop what I'm doing and just massage my back to massage the pain out so, it'll unlock and I can start moving again. So I explained this to her, and she checked it, and she said that, they all kind of felt the same, but there's one tumor on the back of my right leg in the middle of my hamstring. She says it feels really different. So she called Judy Bledsoe, who was the registered nurse in charge of medical. She runs medical. And so she came over, she started pointing them out, and, Judy Bledsoe started feeling the tumors and squeezing them and poking at them and doing all that stuff that they do. And then she pointed out the one on the back of my leg. So, I'm sitting there talking to them, explaining to them, again, what the symptoms are, blah, 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 and how they just keep popping up. They just keep popping up. Now, I will give them this. Judy Bledsoe told nurse practitioner Jesse, look, go ahead and send the paperwork into Richmond, and whether or not Richmond approves it, go ahead and make the appointment with the doctor on the street and have him taken to the local hospital and have it biopsied. I'm actually grateful for that, because it seems like they're actually willing to help me this time without me having to get thousands of people through Interfaith Action for Human Rights and people who listen to my podcast and everything, and people who are write and care about me, to start sending emails to Richmond every single week. Why is he being denied medical treatment? So hopefully I won't have to go through that this go around. But that's medical. It's so hard to get treatment. I don't understand it. I get that you have people go over there for frivolous things. Yes, I understand that you have people who are hypochondriacs, or however you say that damn word. I understand all that. But this is the thing. Those nurses over there, those people who run medical, they know who's being legit and who's not. Look, I cannot fake a freaking tumor. Either you have a tumor or you don't have a tumor. You cannot fake that. So if I show up with tumors in my damn leg sticking out the bone, hard for me to walk, how hard is that to send me to the doctor on the street and get it biopsied? I even sit there and told them, look, I've told them time and time again, give me any paperwork and I will sign it holding y'all not liable for it, and I will let y'all just take it, just numb it with a topical steroid or whatever it's called, and then just make an incision, and then just take a little snip of it and send it into the lab and get it tested. Find out what it is. I can't even get them to do that. It's frustrating, and it's because in here, in this violent environment, because any day something can pop off. As a matter of fact, we just came off of over a week-long lockdown because they had 10 assault on staffs in back-to-back days, 10 days straight. They had an assault on staff where an inmate somewhere on this mountain jumped on a CO and beat their ass until the other COs and the K9s and the guns and stuff started going off. Like, you never know what's going to happen here. So for someone to be sick in here, you're at a disadvantage. You're at a disadvantage because, hey, if you're not at the top of your game and somebody else happens to be, because they're just coming into the system and they haven't had time for the horrible nutrition and the bad medical care and the wear and tear on your emotions, because this is the thing, people. It's not even just physically being sick. That mental and emotional sickness and illness can wear your physical body down and just take it out of you. These are things you have to deal with in prison. It's not maybe, it's not if you deal with it, it's simply you are going to have to deal with it, period. Stick a fork in it, it's done. And it frustrates you. to the point of where you feel like you want to do something, because how hard is it for someone to care about you? That doesn't mean they have to bend over backwards and go out of their way for you. But this is what the state of Virginia pays you for. This is what taxpayers' money pays your salary for. For you to come in here and help us when we have a serious illness or sickness. There's so many things they could give us that would help us. Okay, and if y'all don't want to pay for it, that's fine. If the state of Virginia decides they don't want to pay for it, okay, let us pay for it. Give us special permission to pay for these items. Like, I have a bad back. Hell, I have tumors in my back. But I actually have some spinal problems from sleeping on a 1-inch thick mattress on a steel bunk for years and years and years. Why won't y'all let me buy like an 8-inch thick prison mattress? I will pay for it out of my own money. I will sacrifice commissary. I will eat some freaking prison trays and cut back on my ramen noodles just to buy a really, really, really good mattress. Let me buy one of those little Velcro stretchy back braces, that you see a lot of construction workers and warehouse loaders and stuff wear. Let me buy one of them for $30, $40. If you're not willing to pay for it, why not? If it helps me, let me do this. And it's just so incredibly frustrating to have to deal with people who put red tape in front of human lives.
You have 1 minute remaining.
There have been a lot of people who have died in prison because of medical care. More people have died from not receiving medical care than all the riots and murders in prison combined. But I encourage you, people, stand up. Start writing letters to your local congressmen and senators or whoever is in charge of it in whatever country you happen to be in. Take care of us and help us, because if you do that, if people show that they care about us, that will change the way we start to see ourselves, and the way we start to see ourselves will change how we start to act and behave. But this has been Red Onion Randy. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. For those of you who listen to me on Apple Podcasts, I would appreciate it if you would review me and rate me, preferably 5 stars, but I'll take whatever you think I'm worth. Take care, stay safe, stay out of prison. Your health depends on it.
Thank you for using GTL.